Well, we're joined now by Mohan Ram. Hello, Rohan. How are you doing?
Hey, Bhavna. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So the stage and screen is all yours. We're excited to hear from you. Over to you.
Thank you, Bhavna. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I know it's been a very exciting day. I was listening to the previous panel, a lot of great insights about the gaming industry itself. Very quickly, my introduction. I am Mohan Ram. I take care of the go-to-market team and strategy in the Asia-Pacific region for DigitalOcean. We're a cloud infrastructure company headquartered out of New York and serving startups and SMBs around the world. So the topic for today that I have is cloud gaming and taking gaming to the next billion. A quick look at the agenda. We'll be talking about what cloud gaming is, and really we'll spend some time understanding the unprecedented growth in the cloud gaming industry itself and the vertical, and how cloud can really be an enabler in realizing the true potential of the gaming industry. So with that, there is really a revolution happening in the gaming industry, right? I think some of the previous panel members were speaking about the numbers that they are seeing, and really very similar to what video streaming and audio streaming did to the film, the music, and the TV industry. In some way really disrupted that industry because of the streaming option that we have. We are seeing a very similar disruption happening in the gaming industry. Earlier, when we thought about the gaming industry, it was very niche. It was serious gamers who had highly sophisticated consoles and equipment, and companies that were serving this very niche market. Of course, what we saw last year with the pandemic, all of us being locked down at home with very limited outdoor options and alternatives. So a lot of people, even enthusiasts, rush to experience what gaming really looks like, right? I think we all saw last year as in some way a game changer to what happens in the gaming industry. And what's also enabling this is a lot of other changes that are happening, of course, with internet penetration and mobile usage really going up, and with other companies really enabling the services. Today, we're really seeing a major shift in how games are created, they are served and consumed, right? With that, let's take a step back and understand what is cloud gaming, right? Cloud gaming is an online type of gaming that runs video games on remote servers and streams them directly to a user device. This is really different from traditional gaming where games used to run locally on a user's video game console, personal computer, or mobile device. Today, people just need to have a really good internet connection and a mobile device or their PC, and they're able to stream games that are running on remote virtual machines, right? It's also called gaming on demand or gaming as a service. And that's really the power of the cloud that's really enabling pretty much everything as a service today. DigitalOcean as an infrastructure as a service and a platform as a service provider, again, really enables a lot of cloud gaming options for companies and the industry itself. So let's take a look at what are some of the technology trends that are really impacting cloud gaming, right? One is cloud services. Of course, cloud service providers today are making it really easy, simple to deploy games, create games, and go to market very quickly, right? And with cloud service providers also providing edge computing options, the processing power is really getting closer to the user, which means latency is no longer an option, and it's really providing high-end experiences and high-resolution experiences for gaming. Outside of that, server availability, of course, we are talking about servers being available 24/7 up to 4 nines availability. So that really means that they are always on and able to cater to users around the world at any point of time. Yeah, sorry, there was a little bit of a lag. I'm just going to go back. Yeah, some of the other trends that are enabling cloud gaming is, of course, 5G services. Today's 4G networks don't offer the sub 10 millisecond latency, that is almost like a prerequisite for gaming, right? So with the advent of 5G and a lot of multinational companies supporting 5G services, it really enables cloud gaming because it offers that 1 millisecond sort of latency. Of course, as internet speeds and network latency reduces, cloud gaming is going to get all the more bigger, and really a paradigm shift in how games are created and consumed. So really, let's take a look at how cloud can enable gaming companies. One, of course, is the time to market, right? Today, not just big game providers like Microsoft and Tencent, but it's also really smaller startups. In the previous panel, we saw a whole bunch of startups that probably did not exist a couple of years back, right? Today, anybody, even a small startups, can really create games and serve millions of users around the world. So what cloud really enables is the time to market. It's really shortened the time to market. We have on-demand infrastructure and turnkey solutions, which really enable you to deploy newer games at the click of a button, deploy hundreds and thousands of servers in the backend to support the increasing traffic, as you see once you've launched your game. Next, of course, is scalability, what I was talking about. Once you launch, depending on the traction that you see, you're able to dynamically scale up and scale down. So you don't have to allocate fixed capacity. You can really be agile in a way that you respond to the market and respond to the needs of your end users. The third one is reduce costs. Of course, cloud, as it's becoming more and more mainstream, today all startups are born in the cloud. Gone are the days when people would purchase hardware and spend a lot of time managing infrastructure. It's really become very cost effective for startups to get on the cloud and pretty much write software and games that in some way impact the world, right? Today we have pay-per-use pricing structure that a lot of cloud providers provide. That's really brought down the operational costs. And finally, growth. Again, with the pandemic, what we saw was really, in some way, the boundaries are broken. Today, you could be a small startup sitting out of, let's say, Indonesia and serving gamers around the world, or even India, right? I think we're seeing a lot of really interesting gaming companies come out of India. And speaking to the graph on the right, I think sky is really the limit for cloud gaming. We're seeing billions of users consuming gaming services and solutions in a variety of different ways. With that, I know what we spoke about till now has been fairly conceptual. I want to take a concrete example and speak to one of the gaming companies that we've been able to help at DigitalOcean. So PlayKids is a startup that was founded in 2013. They started with an app called PlayKids app, which was more educational app for kids that sort of replaces books and cartoons and activities for small children. What they did more recently was launch a mobile game that was specifically targeted for children. One of the gaming games that they introduced was called PKXD. This is a real-time multiplayer social game. Again, it's constantly rated as one of the top 3 mobile games on the App Store and Google Play Store in Brazil. This company is based out of Brazil, and they also cater to thousands of users in the US and Europe, right? And they very constantly trade trending spots with other popular games like Minecraft and Roblox and Fortnite and Free Fire, right? So this was a small company that has a very small team managing their infrastructure and building out this game, but they were able to see the traffic really increase to them, tens of millions of users trying to play simultaneously on their platform. So when they came to us, PlayKids, they were trying to solve some key problems. One was just the concurrency they were seeing with users increasing, the traffic that was increasing to their games. What they wanted to build was friction and interruption-free experience so that their users are not impacted while they perform sort of like management functions in the backend. They also wanted a cost-efficient infrastructure. They were on another cloud provider that was proving to be very expensive. and not transparent enough in terms of their spending. And being a small startup, this was really something that they were trying to solve. And of course, they wanted to automate things as much as possible so that depending on the demand and the traffic that they were seeing, they should be able to scale up and down. So when PlayKids came to DigitalOcean, we were able to kind of work with them to understand their architecture, what are they trying to build, and really help them create their tech stack that was very optimized for scaling. What they chose was, once they understood their CPU requirements and memory requirements, created containers. So they containerized their infrastructure, and they used what are called CPU optimized droplets. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, droplets are virtual machines on DigitalOcean, and our CPU optimized droplets have dedicated vCPUs, which means you have dedicated processing power especially for gaming workloads. Right, so they containerize their infrastructure. Again, they used some of our other products like cloud firewalls, managed databases, and load balancers, of course, to balance out the traffic that they were seeing. They also very cleverly leveraged some of the other technologies that are available. For example, Agonis helps you to deploy high-end dedicated games on Kubernetes platform. And then they use Rancher, which is an open source platform that helps you to manage Kubernetes clusters. And then Flux CD, which is a continuous deployment platform that helps you to keep these Kubernetes clusters in sync with the source code or the configuration files, right? So this at a very high level was their architecture. They were able to containerize it and really build a very agile tech stack that was able to scale according to their usage or their traffic, right? And this was some of the results that they were seeing. The graph on the left, if you see, that was the spike in traffic that they were seeing from launch day to about a month, right? So a huge spike that they were seeing, and because they had a containerized tech stack and architecture that supported scaling up very easily, they were able to manage the kind of concurrent players going up and down, as you see on the graph on the right, right? So that was how we helped PlayKids. Of course, if there are gaming startups, one thing I'm sure that's on top of all your minds is, how do you choose a cloud provider that can support you in your growth journey, right? So a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. One is performance. Is your cloud provider being able to provide the performance that is required? So again, there are dedicated CPU virtual machines that enable you to provide that dedicated performance, and also are they able to really help you scale to millions of concurrent users without you having to really build a big team that is dedicated to managing infrastructure. Of course, your cloud provider also needs to be transparent so that there are no hidden costs, especially because gaming workloads can become extremely bandwidth intensive. The costs can really add up, right? Again, at DigitalOcean, because we support thousands or hundreds of gaming startups with their workloads, we really understand how to best support these workloads. And we, as a big proponent of the open source movement that's happening, you'll find a lot of open source tooling on our marketplace as well, right? On the right, you see Corey Quinn, a very well-known cloud thought leader, speaking about how on DigitalOcean you can pretty much expect what you will pay for before you provision it. I spoke about bandwidth being a really critical component. With DigitalOcean, we offer free inbound, which means outside of the bandwidth that is provided already as part of your virtual machine plans, anything above that, for overages, you will only be paying as low as 1 cent per GB, right? So especially because it's bandwidth intensive workloads, gaming, the savings could really add up if you're a startup and that's really scaling, right? And again, the other thing you need to keep in mind while choosing a cloud provider is simplicity and transparency. How simple is it to manage, to deploy, and to scale? With that, this is a quote from one of our customers speaking about how DigitalOcean's pricing and simplicity really made it possible for them, even financially viable for them to sustain and grow in this space. We also support a whole lot of other customers in the gaming space, especially gaming companies like Super Lucky, who also use our Kubernetes offering. And in this code, they speak to really our user-friendly dashboards, our clear pricing structure, as well as excellent documentation. If you're a gaming company and trying to really get started on your cloud strategy and what is your cloud journey, check out do.co/gaming. You'll find other gaming companies and how they're building their tech stack on DigitalOcean. And of course, if you're interested in getting in touch with us, go to do.co/gaming summit to get started on DigitalOcean and get in touch with our team to understand how best we can support you in your journey. With that, I wanted to wish all of you the very best, and I want to now hand it back to the MC.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohan, for that incredible talk. We really enjoyed it, and definitely a lot of insights coming from there. We'd really like to thank you for joining us on our inaugural edition. Thank you once again.
Thank you.